If you had to travel coast to coast across the United States, which would be better, a compass or a GPS? Hi, Stan Walters, welcoming you back for episode 40 of Inside the Interview Room. Compass versus GPS, body versus the voice. Now, maybe wonder why I compared these two, but there's a reason. There are three categories of behaviors that problems that we encounter when we compare the analysis of verbal behavior versus body language behavior. And I like to match the two up with the concept of a compass versus GPS. So first of all, let's say that I had to navigate. I live in Tampa, just outside of Tampa. Let's say I had to navigate on foot, okay, make it tough, to the St. Louis Arch. And I'm using a compass, okay? First of all, if I'm off by 2 degrees, I had to do chat to do some calculations on this to navigate for me. But if I was off 2 degrees when I left Tampa, how far would I miss the St. Louis Arch? I would miss by 30 miles. Over that time period, the markings would keep getting worse and worse and worse and worse, and I would be off the mark. Now, GPS, you can put a pin, right, on the location you want to go to, like the Redwood Forest, let's say in California, or if you want to go to Philadelphia Independence Hall, from the opposite coast. It'll put a pin there, and GPS will accurately take to that spot. So first of all, the end game, the point, there is a lower margin of error in making analysis of verbal cues versus it is body language cues. Okay. Now, the second thing, using a compass, and now you're not Lewis and Clark, neither am I, but good Lord, those guys use sextants, they use transoms, they do all types of continuous measurements to measure things. Lord, how do they know what to do? But body language is like that. It's an extremely complicated process. There's lots of constant measurements, constant reset all the way through that trip to the end game to the St. Louis Arch. GPS is almost instantly self-correcting. You've been on a route and you make a wrong turn and the voice comes over and says recalculating. Verbal cues are like that. Verbal cues are very, very specific. Verbal cues don't happen primarily by accident because first we think it and censor it, then we say it. Body language is more driven by stress overall and change in emotion, the bulk of it. And then what we're trying to make an assessment of for deception or credibility is often these random stress cues can have multiple different meanings. So how many wrong turns could you make in the trip? Now, the third thing about the compass and GPS, with the compass, you may never know you've made a mistake. You may think, if you aren't not familiar with what the St. Louis Arch looks like, but you want to go to a particular location in the woods in Sequoia Forest, you may miss it by 30 miles and not know that you've missed it until you get there. You've wasted the whole trip going the wrong way. GPS, the voice, on the other hand, puts you exactly where you need to be. So when you're comparing, now, by the way, we found in our research we did at John Jay College that analysis of body language was 3 times more laborious, took 3 times the labor than the voice did. With a compass, you have to work yourself to death, constantly recalculate, and could still round up in the wrong spot. GPS, self-correcting, on the moment, and takes you exactly where to go with a reliable statement. Got it? Compass, follow the GPS. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell to be notified about upcoming episodes. We're going to have episode number 41 next week. Also check with me, sign up with me and connect on LinkedIn. Got some great stuff and great posts that I'm putting there with more information. Take a look at thelieguy.com and look at the blog for more research. And remember, choices you make in the interview room eventually will be encountered in a courtroom. Be safe. See you next week. Get your GPS working.